The dust was thick and red that morning, the kind of dust that gets into your eyes, your mouth, and your lungs, the kind that tells you the land is dying. Old Henry Cordell stood at the edge of the town market, his boots worn down to nothing, his hat torn at the side. He was watching the auction. Horses were being sold one by one. Some were strong and proud. Others were sick and thin. Henry had come with his last $50. It was money he had saved for 5 years. Money that was supposed to buy food for winter. Money that was supposed to help his daughter Sarah go to school in the city next year. But today, he was going to spend every single penny on something that might be the biggest mistake of his life. He did not know it yet, but today would change everything. The auctioneer was a big man with a loud voice. He stood on a wooden platform and called out prices. Buyers shouted back, throwing their hands up when they wanted a horse. It was hot. The sun was burning down like fire. Horses were sweating. Some were scared. Some were angry. Some just looked tired and broken. Then the auctioneer called out a number, and a new horse came out. This horse was different. Not different in a good way. It was thin, so thin that you could see every bone under its skin. Its coat was dull and gray, like old concrete. There were long scars across its body. One ear bent at a strange angle, like it had been broken and never healed right. Its left front leg was bent, and the horse limped as it walked across the dirt. The horse was afraid. You could see it in its eyes. This was a horse that had lived through hard times. The auctioneer laughed. "Well," he said, "here is one nobody wants. Look at this poor creature. Broken leg, bad scars. One ear is bent. This horse is finished. Who will take it? I will start the bidding at $5. Nobody moved. Nobody raised their hand. Everyone just looked at the horse like it was garbage. The auctioneer tried again. $5 for this broken animal. Anyone? Come on, $5. Still nothing. The crowd just turned away. They were looking at the stronger horses, the prettier horses, the horses that looked like they could work and live and be useful. Henry felt something move in his chest. He did not know why. He just watched the horse. The horse was scared and broken, yes, but there was something in its eyes, something strong, something that was still alive inside, even though the body was destroyed. The auctioneer said, "Fine, $3. $3 for this horse." Henry's hand came up. He did not plan it. It just happened. $3, he shouted. The whole crowd turned to look at him. They knew who he was. Henry Cordell, the old rancher who was losing his land. The man whose wife had died 3 years ago. The man who was running out of time and running out of luck. Everyone knew his story, and everyone thought he was crazy. $3, I hear," said the auctioneer. Going once, going twice, sold to Henry Cordell. The crowd began to laugh. Real laughter. The kind that hurts your feelings. "Henry, you fool!" One man shouted. "That horse will die in a week." "You just wasted your money, old man." Another one called out. Henry did not look at them. He walked up to the horse and put his hand on its neck. The horse jumped back, scared. Its eyes were wide. It had learned not to trust people, but Henry just stood there. He did not move. He did not yell. He just stood there, quiet, with his hand out. After a few moments, the horse stopped shaking. Its breathing became slower. It looked at Henry, and in that look, something passed between them. Henry knew. He knew this horse had been something once. He did not know what, but he knew it was not just a broken animal. He paid the auctioneer his last $50. $3 for the horse, and $47 to buy it away from the market before they put it down. At afternoon, Henry brought the horse to his ranch. The land was dry and dusty. There were buildings that needed fixing. There were fences that were broken. There was work everywhere, and not enough time or money to fix it all. Sarah was sitting on the porch when her father came home. She was 16 years old, smart, beautiful, strong like her mother had been. She watched her father lead the broken horse toward the barn. "Papa," she called out. "Papa, what is that?" Harry did not answer right away. He kept walking, leading the horse slowly and carefully. "Papa, where did you get that horse?" Sarah ran down from the porch. Her eyes went wide when she saw the animal up close. The scars, the bent ear, the way it limped. "Oh, Papa, why did you bring home that sick horse?" Henry finally turned to look at his daughter. His face was old and tired, but his eyes were steady. "Sarah, the bank is coming in 3 days," he said quietly. "Mr. Patterson is coming to take the ranch. We have nothing left, no animals worth selling, no crops to trade, nothing." Sarah's face fell. She had heard talk of this, the bank, the money they owed, the farm they might lose. "I know, Papa," she said softly. "I know it is bad, but why this horse?" "This horse is broken. It cannot help us." Henry looked at the scarred animal. The horse looked back at him. In that moment, something passed between them again, a kind of understanding. Two broken things standing in the dust, in the fading light. "Because," Henry said, "I saw something in this horse's eyes, something everybody else missed. And I believe that is what the world needs to learn, that broken things, that hurt things, they can still be valuable. They can still matter." Sarah did not understand, but she loved her father. So she said nothing more. That night, Henry led the horse into the barn. He found clean straw and piled it high. He brought water in an old bucket. He sat in the darkness with the horse for a long time, just sitting, not talking, just being there. The horse ate slowly. It drank carefully. And after a while, it rested its head near Henry's shoulder. Outside, the wind was blowing dust across the land. The stars were coming out, one by one. And somewhere in the distance, there was the sound of danger coming. But in the barn, there was silence. And in that silence, Henry Cordell made a choice that everybody would say was foolish. Tomorrow, the world would find out if the old man was crazy, or if he had seen something true. Tomorrow, the secret would begin to show. But tonight, there was just the horse and the old man, waiting together in the darkness.
The first morning came fast, too fast. Henry woke up before the sun. His body was old and tired. His bones hurt when he moved, but he did not have time to rest. He had only 2 days left. The banker would come tomorrow at noon. Mr. Charles Patterson, a man with cold eyes and a cold heart. A man who did not care about people's dreams or hopes. He only cared about money. And the money Henry owed him was money Henry did not have. Henry dressed in the dark. He put on his work shirt, the one with holes in it. He put on his old boots. He did not look in the mirror. He did not want to see his own face. He did not want to see how scared he looked. He walked out to the barn where the broken horse was waiting. The horse was standing in the corner, still afraid. It had not eaten much of the food Henry left. It had not drunk much water. The animal was so scared that it could barely think about anything except survival. Henry understood that feeling. He was scared too. "Hey there," Henry said softly. His voice was calm and quiet. "Hey, it is okay. I am not going to hurt you." The horse's ears moved backward. It was listening, but still afraid. Henry did not try to touch the horse. He did not try to ride it or break it. He just walked to the other side of the barn and sat down on an old wooden box. He pulled out some bread and cheese. He began to eat slowly. He did not look at the horse. He just ate and waited. For an hour, nothing happened. The horse just stood there, shaking slightly, watching the old man. The barn was quiet except for the sound of Henry chewing. The smell of hay and dust filled the air. Then something changed. The horse took one step forward, then another. It was very slow, very careful. The limp in its left leg was worse when it walked, but it was moving toward Henry. The old man did not move. He just sat there with a small piece of cheese in his hand, not moving, not threatening, not making any sudden sounds. The horse came closer. Closer. Its breath came out in short bursts. Its nose came near to Henry's face. The horse could smell him now. Not the smell of cruelty. Not the smell of pain. Just the smell of an old man and bread and time. The horse took the cheese from Henry's hand. Its lips were soft and warm. For the first time they touched. A connection was made. Henry felt something move in his heart. This broken horse was learning to trust him. And for the first time in 3 years, since his wife had died, Henry felt like his life meant something. The day passed slowly. Henry worked in the barn. He cleaned out the old straw. He brought fresh water. He found some grain and mixed it with hay. The horse ate a little more now. Its breathing became slower, less afraid. But Henry was thinking about something. The scars on the horse's body. They were not normal scars. They were cuts and patterns, like from saddles and equipment, like from military work. And the way the horse moved when it thought nobody was watching, there was strength there, a kind of power that a normal farm horse would not have. Sarah came to the barn in the afternoon. She watched her father work with the broken animal. "Papa," she said, "why are you spending so much time with this horse? It is broken, and the banker comes tomorrow." Henry did not stop what he was doing. He was brushing the horse's coat, very gently, being careful around the scars. "I know," he said quietly. "I know the banker comes tomorrow. I know we are running out of time. Then why not try to sell something else? Why not use this time to prepare, to say goodbye to the ranch?" Sarah's voice was breaking. She was trying to be strong, but she was only 16. She was scared too, because Henry said, "Sometimes you have to believe in something even when it makes no sense. Sometimes you have to trust that broken things are not worthless. They are just waiting." Sarah did not understand, but she stayed in the barn with her father anyway. She sat next to him and watched the horse. And slowly, the horse became less afraid, with two people being quiet and kind. As the sun began to set, the horse rested its head near Henry's shoulder. Sarah reached out and touched its neck. The three of them stood together in the fading light. That night, Henry could not sleep. Again, he lay in his bed and listened to the wind outside. The wind was picking up. There was a storm coming. He could feel it in his bones. He could smell in the air. At midnight, Henry got up. He could not lie in bed anymore. He walked out to the barn. He needed to be near the horse. He did not know why. He just needed to be there. The barn was dark, very dark. The moon was covered by clouds. But Henry walked slowly until he found the horse. The animal was standing, not sleeping, not resting. It was standing alert, facing the window toward the west pasture. The horse's body was tense. Its muscles were tight like rope. Something had changed in the animal. The fear was gone. Instead, there was focus, attention, like the horse was watching for something, waiting for something. "What is it?" Henry whispered. "What do you see?" The horse did not move, but its ears were pointed, pointing west, into the darkness. Then Henry heard it, faint at first, but growing louder, the sound of hoofbeats, many hoofbeats, moving fast across the land, moving toward the ranch. Henry's heart began to pound. Raiders. It had to be raiders. They came this way sometimes, looking for cattle, looking for horses, looking for anything they could steal and sell. But something else was happening. The broken horse was changing. Its head came up, its body straightened. The limp in its left leg seemed to disappear. The scared, beaten animal was transforming. Its chest was getting bigger. Its muscles were showing. It was like watching a dead thing come back to life. The horse turned to look at Henry, and in its eyes, there was no fear. There was power. There was memory. There was something that had been sleeping and was now waking up. "You were something," Henry said slowly. "You were something important." The hoofbeats were getting closer. The storm was coming. The danger was coming. But the broken horse stood tall now. Its scars looked different in the darkness. Not like marks of pain, like marks of survival, like proof that this animal had lived through battles and come out the other side. Henry looked at the horse. The horse looked back, and in that moment, everything changed. Henry realized that his choice at the auction had not been crazy at all. He had not bought a worthless animal. He had bought something precious. He had bought hope. The hoofbeats were almost at the fence now. Henry's hand found the horse's neck, and together, they waited in the darkness for what would come next. The secret was about to show itself. The hoofbeats were getting louder, closer. Henry could hear them now, like thunder rolling across the dry earth. The raiders were coming. Maybe 5 minutes away. Maybe 3. He did not have much time. Henry's hands were shaking. Not from fear, from knowing what he had to do. He looked at the horse. The animal was still standing tall in the barn. Its muscles were tight. Its eyes were bright and alive. This was not the broken, scared horse anymore. This was something else. Something that remembered being strong. "Come on," Henry whispered. "Come with me." He did not have a rope or a saddle. He did not have time to get one. He just walked toward the horse and put his hand on its neck. The horse did not pull away. It followed him, walking steadily despite the limp. Henry led the horse out of the barn. The night was dark and wild. The wind was blowing hard. The storm clouds were moving fast across the sky. Lightning was far away, but you could see it lighting up the darkness for just a second at a time. Sarah was standing on the porch of the house, holding a lamp. When she saw her father leading the horse out into the open, she screamed, "Papa, Papa, what are you doing? Come inside. Get to safety." Henry did not answer her. He could not tell her what he was planning. She would try to stop him, and he could not be stopped. He walked the horse to the middle of the big, open field in front of the house. The field where they had planted crops years ago. The field that was now just dry dirt and dust. He could hear the raiders now. They were close, very close, maybe 100 yards away. He could see the shapes of horses and riders moving through the darkness. Henry took a deep breath. This was the moment where everything would change or everything would end. He had no gun. He had no weapon. He had no help. He only had this broken horse and one crazy idea. He grabbed the horse's mane and pulled himself up onto its back. He had never done this before. His old body was stiff and slow, but the horse stood very still. It let him climb up. It let him settle on its back like he belonged there. The moment Henry sat down, everything changed. The horse beneath him transformed. Its fear disappeared. Its limp vanished. The animal's entire body became pure muscle and power and purpose. It was like the horse had been waiting for this moment its whole life. Like this was what it was made for. The raiders saw them now. They were 60 yards away, moving fast, moving like they owned the land and everyone on it. Henry leaned forward on the horse's neck. "Okay," he whispered. "Okay, let's go." The horse understood. It did not run away in fear. It did not try to hide. It turned directly toward the approaching riders and started moving forward. Faster, faster. The limp was completely gone now. The scarred, broken animal was flying across the ground like it had wings. Sarah screamed from a porch. "Papa, Papa, no, come back." But Henry was not coming back. He was riding toward the danger, toward the men on horses, toward something that made no sense. The horse was running at full speed now. Its muscles were pumping. Its heart was pounding. And then it happened. The horse opened its mouth and screamed. It was not a sound like a normal animal makes. It was a sound like war itself. It was a sound like pain and power and rage all mixed together. It was a sound that had come from deep inside something that had been broken but was now awake and alive. The horse screamed again, louder this time. The sound echoed across the dark field. It bounced off the rocks and mountains in the distance. The raiders stopped. For the first time since Henry had heard them coming, they stopped moving forward. In the darkness, lit only by lightning flashes, they could see the horse. They could see its scars. They could see its wild eyes. They could see it charging at them like nothing could stop it. An animal that had been through battles. An animal that had survived things that should have killed it. And sitting on that horse was an old man. A man who had nothing to lose. A man who was riding straight at them like he had 10 soldiers behind him. Like he was leading an army. The horse was 30 yards away now, moving like a storm, moving like death itself. The first raider turned his horse around, without saying anything, without waiting for his friends. He just turned and ran. Then another one followed. Then another. Henry could hear them now, shouting at each other, fear in their voices. They were confused. This was supposed to be an easy night. Easy stealing from an old man with nothing. But they had found something different. They had found a horse with fire in its chest. A horse that would not run. A horse that would attack. The horse was 20 yards away. 10 yards. The closest raider was turning his horse around, scrambling to get away. The others were already disappearing into the darkness. Henry could have let the horse keep chasing them. The animal would have done it. The animal wanted to, but Henry pulled gently back on the mane. "Okay," he said softly. "Okay, we're done. They're going away." The horse slowed down. Its breathing was heavy and fast, but obeyed. It stopped running. It stopped screaming. It just stood there in the middle of the field, breathing hard, its muscles shaking from the power that had just been released. The last of the raiders were disappearing into the darkness. You could hear their hoofbeats getting quieter, getting farther away, getting gone. Henry sat on the horse in the middle of the empty field. His whole body was shaking. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding so hard he thought it might break through his chest. Sarah ran from the house. She was crying. She ran across the field to her father and the horse. "Papa," she was screaming. "Papa, you are alive. You are alive." Henry climbed down from the horse slowly. His legs could barely hold him, but he stood there, running his hands along the horse's neck. The animal was still breathing hard, still shaking, still remembering. "What is this horse?" Sarah was asking. "Papa, what is this horse?" Henry did not answer right away. He just looked at the scarred animal, the horse that everyone had laughed at, the horse that was supposed to be worthless, the horse that had just saved them all. "This," Henry said softly, "is a survivor. This is an animal that remembers what it means to be brave. This is a horse that will not quit, even when the world breaks it, even when everyone says it is finished. This horse is a fighter." The storm was still coming. The wind was still blowing. But in the middle of the field, an old man stood with his daughter and a broken horse that had just done the impossible. And tomorrow, the banker would come. But tonight, something miraculous had happened. The broken horse had saved them all. The morning came bright and clear. Too bright. The kind of morning that seems to mock you when your life is falling apart. Henry had not slept. He had stayed in the barn with the horse all night. Not talking, not doing anything, just being together. The horse had calmed down after the raid. Its breathing had returned to normal. But there was something different about it now. Something had changed inside the animal. The broken thing was still broken on the outside, but inside it was awake. It was alive. It was real. At exactly noon, the banker arrived. His name was Charles Patterson. He was a big man, but not from strength. He was big from sitting behind a desk and eating good food while other people starved. His face was round and red. His hands were soft and clean. He wore an expensive suit, even though the temperature was climbing toward 100 degrees. Patterson climbed down from his horse with effort. He was breathing hard from the short ride. He was not a man of the land. He was a man of money, and money was the only thing that mattered to him. Sarah was standing on the porch. She had dressed in her best dress, even though it was old and had holes in it. She wanted to look nice. She wanted to look like her family had dignity. Henry came out of the barn. He was covered in dust and hay. His shirt was dirty. His hands were rough and callous from work, but his eyes were calm. His face was peaceful. Patterson did not even smile when he saw them. "Henry Cordell," he said. His voice was smooth like oil. "I have come to collect the debt. You owe me $800. You have not paid for 3 years. The interest has grown. Now you owe me $1,000. Henry did not argue. He did not beg. He had not slept all night preparing words or excuses. He had just sat with his horse. "I cannot pay you," Henry said simply. "I have nothing to sell. I have no crops. I have no cattle. I have nothing but my land and this ranch, which you will take from me now." Patterson pulled out a piece of paper, a legal document. It said the ranch now belonged to the bank. It said Henry and Sarah had to leave within 1 week. Patterson handed the paper to Henry like it was just a normal piece of business, like he was not destroying a family, like he was not taking away everything a man had worked for his whole life. "I am sorry," Patterson said, and he said it like he meant it, but he did not mean it. His eyes were empty. He did not feel anything for anyone. Then Patterson looked toward the barn. "What horse is that?" he asked suddenly. His eyes had changed. The empty look was gone. Something else was there now. Interest. Attention. Henry turned and saw that the broken horse had walked out of the barn. It was standing in the morning sun. Its coat was still scarred. Its ear was still bent. Its limp was still there. But something about the way it stood was different. Something about the way it held itself said, that this animal had power. Patterson walked slowly toward the horse. Henry did not stop him. Sarah held her breath on the porch. The banker walked all the way around the horse. He looked at every scar. He looked at the bent ear. He looked at the legs. He looked at the chest. He looked at the muscles. When Patterson was done looking, he turned to Henry. His face was very different now. It was not cold anymore. It was confused and shocked. That, Patterson said slowly, is a cavalry horse. A United States Army cavalry horse. Where did you get this animal? Henry did not know what to say. From an auction. The horse was broken. Everyone said it was worthless. I bought it 3 days ago. Patterson was quiet for a long moment. He was thinking. You could see his mind working. Do you know what a cavalry horse is worth? Patterson asked. A trained military horse? One that has been through battles. No, Henry said. I do not. More than your entire ranch, Patterson said. Much more. These horses are valuable beyond measure. They're trained to follow commands. They are brave. They do not panic in danger. They are worth anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. A good one. A trained one. Henry's heart began to beat faster. Patterson walked back to the horse and touched its neck. The animal did not pull away. It let the banker touch it. This one has seen war, Patterson said. Look at the scars. Look at the way it stands. Look at its eyes. This horse has been through battles and come out the other side. He turned to Henry. The army must have sold this horse when it became too old or too injured. They must have auctioned it off. Henry was beginning to understand. The horse was valuable. The horse was worth money. The horse was not worthless at all. Patterson looked at Henry with new respect. Something had changed in the banker's face. He was seeing Henry differently now, not as a poor man who could not pay his debts, but as a man who had something precious. Can you ride this horse? Patterson asked. I can, Henry said, though I had never tried before yesterday. Patterson walked back to Henry. He was quiet for a long time. Then he did something Henry did not expect. He handed the legal paper back to Henry. What? Henry asked, confused. I want this horse instead, Patterson said. This horse is worth enough to pay your entire debt. More than enough. If you give me this horse, your debt is forgiven. Your ranch is yours to keep. Henry looked at the banker. He looked at his daughter on the porch. He looked at the broken horse standing in the morning sun. Everything in Henry wanted to say yes. Everything in him wanted to save his ranch. Everything in him wanted to take his daughter's future back from Patterson's hands. But he thought about the night before. He thought about the horse charging at the raiders. He thought about the animal screaming with power and courage. He thought about what this horse had done to save them all. No, Henry said. Patterson's face went red. No. What do you mean no? You will lose everything. I know, Henry said. But this horse is not mine to sell. This horse saved my life. This horse saved my daughter's life. This horse has been through wars and pain and suffering. I will not sell it like it was just another thing. Sarah began to cry on the porch. But they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of pride. Her father had just chosen something bigger than survival. He had chosen loyalty. Patterson stared at Henry like he could not understand what was happening. For a man who only believed in money, the idea of refusing money made no sense at all. You are a fool, Patterson said finally. Maybe, Henry said, but I'm a fool with my dignity, and I'm a fool with my honor, and I am a fool who will not betray the creature that saved my life. Patterson turned and walked back to his horse. He climbed up slowly. As he was leaving, he called back one more time. You could have had everything, he said. No, Henry replied. I could have had money, but I already have everything that matters. Patterson rode away in a cloud of dust, angry and confused, unable to understand a man who would not trade loyalty for gold. Henry walked to the horse and put his arms around its neck. Sarah ran down from the porch and joined them. The three of them stood together. The broken ranch, the broken horse, the old man who believed in impossible things. But nothing was broken anymore. 3 months had passed since the banker left the ranch. 3 months of work and healing and hope. The ranch was becoming strong again. Henry and Sarah had fixed the fences. They had planted new crops. They had brought in some cattle. The life they thought was gone forever was coming back. Slowly, but it was coming back. And all of it was because of the horse. The scarred animal had become part of their family. Sarah brushed its coat every day. The scars were still there, but the coat was becoming shinier, stronger, more alive. The bent ear still bent at its strange angle. The limp was still there sometimes when the weather was cold. But the horse was healing. Inside and outside, it was healing. Henry spent every morning with the horse. He would stand in the barn with his coffee and just watch it eat. Just watch it breathe. Just watch it live. The animal that everyone said was worthless had saved his life. It had saved his daughter. It had saved his future. One morning, Henry knew what he had to do. He did not tell Sarah. He did not explain his plan. He just woke up early before the sun came up, and he walked to the barn. "Today is the day," he said to the horse. "Today you get to be free." The horse looked at him with those eyes. Those dark, intelligent eyes that had seen battles and pain and now saw kindness and love. Henry led the horse out of the barn, not toward the pasture where they usually practiced riding, toward the open land, toward the mountains, toward the wild places where horses could run and be free. Sarah woke up and saw her father walking with the horse. She ran outside in her nightgown, her hair wild. "Papa, where are you taking him?" she called. Henry did not stop walking. "Where he needs to go." Sarah followed them. "Papa, no. Papa, you cannot let him go. He is ours. He saved us. We love him." Henry's eyes were filled with tears, but his face was calm. "That is exactly why," he said. "Sarah, this horse saved us. This horse gave us everything. And because I love it, I have to give it back what it needs most." They walked for an hour, Henry and Sarah and the scarred horse. They walked past the ranch. They walked past the pastures. They walked toward the wild land where the mountains touched the sky. Finally, Henry stopped. He looked at the horse for a long moment. He put his arms around its neck one last time. "You are free now," he whispered. "You are free to be what you are. You are free to run. You are free to live without pain. I release you. I set you loose. Go and be the legend you deserve to be." He stepped back and slapped the horse gently on the back. For a moment, nothing happened. The horse did not move. It looked at Henry. It looked at Sarah. It looked at the open land stretching out before it. Then it took one step forward, then another. Then it began to trot. Then it began to run. It ran faster and faster. Its scars seemed to shine in the early morning light. Its bent ear pointed forward. Its limp disappeared as power flowed through its legs. The horse ran toward the mountains, toward freedom, toward its future. Sarah was crying hard. "Why did you do that?" she asked her father. Henry was crying too, but he was also smiling. "Because," he said, "some things are too beautiful to own. Some things are meant to be free. And I love that horse too much to keep it. The greatest gift you can give someone or something is freedom." They stood together and watched until the horse disappeared over the ridge, until they could not see it anymore, until it was gone. Years passed. Henry grew older. His hair turned completely white. His hands became more bent with age, but his eyes stayed strong. His spirit stayed alive. Sarah grew into a woman. She became a teacher in the nearby town. She taught children about kindness and courage and the power of second chances. And they kept the story of the horse alive. But the story did not stay small. It did not stay with just Henry and Sarah. Other ranchers began to tell it. Cowboys who had heard it at saloons and campsites. Families sitting around dinner tables. The story of the old man who bought a broken horse that everyone laughed at. The story of the horse that saved his ranch. The story of the man who loved it so much that he set it free. And something strange began to happen. People started reporting seeing a scarred horse roaming the frontier. A horse with a bent ear. A horse with an odd limp that disappeared when it ran fast. A horse with a fire in its eyes. A rancher in trouble would report that a mysterious horse had appeared and led him to safety. A young person lost in a storm would say a scarred animal had guided them home. A farmer under attack would tell how a beautiful horse with scars had defended his family. Some said it was the same horse. The horse from Henry's story. The horse that had been set free and was now running wild, helping people, being the legend it was always meant to be. Others said it was impossible. Horses could not travel that far. Horses could not know when people needed help. Horses could not remember and care about humans. But the stories kept coming. year after year, different people in different places, all describing the same horse. The scarred one, the one with the bent ear, the one that could not be caught or tamed, but somehow always appeared when hope was lost. Henry would sit on the porch of his ranch as an old man, listening to these stories, and he would smile. He would know that his choice had been right. The horse was free. The horse was wild. The horse was a legend. When Henry was very old, near the end of his life, Sarah asked him one final question. "Papa," she said, "do you think it was really the same horse? Do you think our horse is still alive out there, helping people?" Henry looked at his daughter with eyes full of wisdom and peace. "I do not know if it is the same horse," he said slowly. "I do not know if it is one horse or 10 horses, or if it is just a story that people tell themselves when they need to believe in miracles." "Then why do you smile?" Sarah asked. "Because," Henry said, "it does not matter if it is real or not. What matters is that the story is true. What matters is that people believe that broken things can become beautiful, that forgotten animals can become heroes, that loyalty and courage can change the world, that even the weakest moment can become a legend." Henry took his daughter's hand. "I set that horse free," he said, "and in doing so, I set something free in the hearts of everyone who hears the story. That is the real magic. That is the real miracle." Sarah understood then. The horse was not just an animal. It was a symbol of hope, a symbol of second chances, a symbol of what happens when you believe in something that nobody else believes in. Many years later, long after Henry had passed into legend himself, people still told the story of the old rancher and the broken horse, the story of loyalty and courage and impossible choices, the story that proved that sometimes the things that look most broken are actually the strongest. The things that seem most worthless are actually the most precious. And somewhere out on the frontier, where the dust never settles and the mountains touch the sky, people say you can still see a scarred horse running wild. A horse with a bent ear. A horse that appears when hope is lost. A horse that cannot be owned or caught or tamed. A horse that is finally truly free. And free things, they say, are the most beautiful things of all.